Okay, welcome back to the shop, guys. Today I want to go over my shop air setup because I get a lot of questions about it, how it's set up, and how well it's working out for me. So at first we're going to start over here with the main shop compressor right here, this Ingersoll-Rand garage mate 20-gallon unit right here. Now this is an oiled unit, so it's nice and quiet, dual piston, so it has plenty of CFM for what I need out there in the garage. And I'm just kind of iffy on the capacity of the tank on there. I'm sure it'll be enough. The compressor would run that much more often, and it'll probably be just fine. But because I cannot get rid of this Craftsman 15 or 20 gallon, this old oilless unit right here, I figured, hey, let's go ahead and just pipe it into that one and double our tank capacity basically. Then I have it piped in, up and out, and that all adds capacity, believe it or not, through the length of the run on there. So between these two, for tank capacity and the pumping action up here, this thing handles all of my needs, no sweat. I never have an issue with running on air. It's actually quite impressive. Now I'm going to mention these because someone's going to say something about them. Here's two old, that one's an old pancake compressor that was given to me. And then of course this one right here is from the tour across America. And it's got a weatherproof cover on there, and it's all ready to go for mobile calls for the business here. But anyways, back to this right here. The way I have it set up on here is in the back side here. If you saw my video on this, I did a unboxing, a setup, an initial run-in on it. I got a whole video on that. I'll link to it down below. There was a regulator right here, okay? And the regulator just adds restriction to the system being used or not. So I got rid of that and piped in my whip right there directly to the cutoff switch right here. What's nice is down below there you can see there's still a separate tank pressure gauge, which is nice on there. So it's already there and ready to go. So that whip comes over, down and over to like this ball pivot valve right here. It's really cool actually. You see that? You can just move it around and adjust it wherever and tighten it, and this thing's, it's airproof. It's, you know, it's leak proof right here. It's pretty cool little setup from Flexzilla there. So that goes over to the manifold there, fills the tank, and then there's another port on there, and that goes out to another whip hose and up to this 1/4-inch reducer right there that goes into the 1/2-inch black pipe on there. And then I simply just piped it up and over. You can see my handiwork up in there. It's actually not too bad considering I don't do this every day. And then it goes over, follows a joist. And I gotta start padding with the blocks right there because of the joist difference. They're offset like that. And it keeps going down, down, down through the wall and into the garage or the shop there. Now the one thing I can tell you about this, because like I said, a lot of people ask about piping in shop air and all that stuff. What I used was regular pipe dope. I'm used to installing natural gas lines, and there's no issues with natural gas because the pressure's so low. Whereas the shop compressors, you know, 120, 140 psi, no sweat. So what I found out from the union guys is to use thread sealant tape, you know, Teflon tape, and then use pipe dope, and you'll have leak-free joints with all that pressure in there for many years to come. So just a little tidbit of information there. Now what's nice about this setup is that I also have access to everything here. So if I want to come over here and drain the tank, it's right there. So it's really nice. I'm able to come over and drain it anytime I want. And then of course the cutoff, you just reach over right here and flick it on and off right here. Now what I did is I ran a dedicated 20 amp breaker in the box here. One of these right here. Yeah, this one I think it was right here. 20 amp breaker I put in the box here, and I ran 12 gauge wire over so that I can have a dedicated 20 amp outlet just for the compressor there. You can see the freaking cord on there is extra thick. I didn't want no issues with the breaker blowing. And I didn't want to tap off the sump pump because then it blows the breaker for the sump pump, and not good. So that's what I did. This is made to run on a 15 amp line. But again, even at a 15 amp line, you're going to want to have a dedicated outlet just for this. So I figured just forget that, and I'll just make a 20 amp outlet dedicated directly to it and never have any issues. Now once it comes out of the wall there, it comes into the shop under the bench here. So we go up, we attach to the bench a few times along the way. A little street elbow action going on right there, so we can drop it down and attach it one last time so we can support this whole setup right here. What this is my air pressure regulator and water separator. So it's a good size vial down here for the water collection on a nice white face gauge so it's easy to read. And this knob is nice and tall on here and slender, so you can get in here and grab it with even like mechanics gloves on and adjust the pressure down for diagnostic purposes, whatever you're doing on the vehicle. I finished it off with a 3/8 50-foot long Flexzilla hose so we can access just about anything in the drive here in the shop. And what's good about this setup is it comes out right here. You don't see anything else, any other part of the air system besides the part you're using, which is these two pieces right here. So it works out absolutely perfect. Nice slender design attached to the side of the bench right here. And the best part about it, right here it's hanging, and right here is the vehicle you're working on. Okay, so one last final comparison or note here. We're going to compare the noise level output of my old setup to the new setup. So we're going from a direct acting oilless Craftsman unit to a belt driven oiled Ingersoll-Rand unit right here. I know it's like comparing apples to oranges, but I just want to give you a general idea of the difference in noise. Now I know it's been hard to capture there on the video and tell in person. It's very obvious, okay? So what I'm going to do is bust out this dB meter app that I found. It's not professional, but it should give us a good general idea for you guys at home there. So we're going to start with the Craftsman first. Okay, so if you couldn't tell already, that one is very, very loud. 120 decibels is reading on here. So we're going to go over to the Ingersoll-Rand next. Okay, so right there, it's very obvious. We have one going at 117, 120 dB, and this other one's hovering around 89 to 90 dB. It's a huge difference in sound. Just a little quick story here. This was set up and piped in at first, so I got the Ingersoll-Rand. And I left it on. And guess what? The lines bled down a little bit overnight and the thing kicked down like it should. Camping out down here in the basement, and the thing came on and we flipped the heck out, running around like crazy. The dogs are barking, everybody's going nuts. Scared the bejesus out of us. Now, I got this unit in here, this whole setup, and again, camping out down here a few weeks ago, and this one was totally disabled at that point. This one was on though. Pressure dropped, it turned down like it should, and apparently I slept right through it. My son, he said he woke up and he heard it. The dogs, of course, heard it. But apparently I slept right through it, and that's 15, 20 feet away. Now, I don't know if I was really tired at night, but it goes to show the difference, the initial shock value, I guess, of the noise level. Huge difference in noise. So, just a little side note. In the future, we're going to do a video on the performance of this unit. Now, I do have 2 tanks here, so it may not be accurate, but you got to think at first, with me doing a performance test like that, at first we're going to have the capability of 2 tanks. But after a while, we're going to bleed those tanks down, and it's going to be up to the compressor and the CFM output to keep us going at that point. So at some point, we're going to be able to get a good tell if it can actually keep up with demand. If we were using, let's say, an air wand or a cutoff wheel or an air hammer, we're going to use it all, and we're going to see what it kind of stabilizes out at. Of course, it's going to be on the whole time once the tank's drained down, but we'll see if it can keep up with my needs out there. And just giving you a general idea of the power of the twin cylinder design on there. I can already tell you from all the months I've been using this thing that it's more than what I need for my shop out there. One person using the air wand all the time, doesn't matter. I never have an issue with a low pressure point, let's just say. So hopefully that was informative, gave you a good general overview, a little bit of dB testing, and like I said, in the future we'll do a performance test of the CFM output of the unit also.